Hi, this is Takesha Bromell with Girl Friday Business Solutions, and welcome to the Energy Management class. I wanted to give this actual class away as a gift to a lot of people because I actually did a training recently for a client and their team. They wanted you know, some trainings. And one of the things that I wanted to share with them or thought about sharing with them was this opportunity to think a little bit deeper about like how to get the best, excuse me, how to get the best out of your team members. And that was exciting to me. So we had already done some training, like maybe the year before on time management skills and everything. And so it was another way of lending a whole new idea to an important topic. Yes, time management is important. But what I realized through the process and why I wanted to share this class was because it's not enough to get into the time management side of things. You have to look at your energy levels as well and your peak performance hours. Like if we could, as a collective, my team, me and my team, you and your team, can look at it from a different perspective and add in a little bit of like what's my peak performance time, and then using that time for the deeper work, that we will be better for it. So I have a whole class that's right here. I want you to stay tuned and stay connected right here because I wanted to share just a little bit about what I taught when I was in the classroom in our training session on energy management. So I hope that you enjoy this. Take care. Hey, welcome to our training on energy management. What I love about this particular training is that it's not just like the proverbial talking about time management, but it's talking about like looking at it with a unique perspective in energy management. So how do you work smarter, not harder, in honoring like your best times of the day to do work? So let's go ahead and get started. I am Takesha Bromell, your trainer for today. I'm the CEO of Girl Friday Business Solutions, and I love training team members. Last year or over the past 2 years, I've trained over 10,000 team members on all types of topics. So let's go ahead and get started. What are you going to learn today, and what am I going to cover? I am going to talk about understanding energy versus time management, and I love this perspective. I know that you're going to enjoy it as well. Identifying common energy drains, aligning tasks with energy cycles, practical strategies for working smarter. And then I'm going to give you some next steps that is going to be what you can do on a weekly, monthly, and a daily practice for yourself. Okay, let's go. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about today is understanding energy versus time management. Okay, so what is the problem? Why we struggle with energy management? It's sometimes we plan our work around time and not energy. Most people structure their day by the clock instead of when they work best. And we're going to talk a little bit deeper about that. Constant demands drain mental and physical energy. Meetings, notifications, all the notifications that come on your phone. That was just a notification just now. Multitasking, deplete focus, making it harder to sustain productivity, and which also makes things harder to sustain productivity. And then burnout comes from energy management, pushing through exhaustion instead of strategically recharging leads to stress, overwhelm, and decreased efficiency. So then let's go a little bit deeper into what those things look like, or the biggest energy drainers that are out there. Number one is track when you're task switching and multitasking. Um, there was this big revolution that happened some years ago, like maybe 5 to 10 years ago, where it was multitask, 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 multitask. Well, here goes. Um, that that was a big revolution. People started doing that. Um, Employers loved the thought of team members being able to throw up a lot of balls and being able to, like project management came in. So we were always multitasking, and I'm a project manager. I have a master's in project management, so I can understand that. Being able to switch and pivot to things very quickly. So multitasking came from the project management revolution, and it became its own revolution. But here goes, and what we have, and what we've realized that over time, as we've had time to really consider multitasking, really consider the project management wheelhouse and how we got to the multitasking and then task switching and getting things done, and it's almost like burning the midnight oil. What we found is that switching between tasks mental burns mental energy. It reduces efficiency by up to 40%, and it makes it harder to stay focused, right? And then what you will find is that as you're multitasking and you're doing task switching, you stop. What happens is you stop the momentum of finishing the task, and you will find that by the end of the day, honestly, you have already you have not finished much. So you've probably multitasking will help you get to the next step in something. But what it doesn't do is help you finish the thought, finish the idea, finish the task, get something completed. You're off to the next thing. And so you will find a lot of times that you will have like a long list of things still to do, and not a lot of I've completed this task and it's done. Okay, also unstructured work and decision fatigue. Too many choices throughout the day, emails, meetings, minor decisions. Like it just keeps on bonging and binging, drain mental energy, leading to slower thinking and reduced willpower. It will sometimes help you go and get that next snack, okay, rather than like really focused in with focused energy and focused determination to get things done. And then a lack of recovery time. If you don't give yourself time when you are exhausted, to recharge, it does lead to decreased productivity, higher stress, and faster burnout. So it is absolutely important that as you're going through your day, as you're doing the things that need to get done, that you're thinking about and considering those things as well. Let's go even deeper. Okay, so hidden energy drains we overlook, always being on. Constant notifications, emails, messages keep your brain in reactive mode. You never get into proactive mode where you're able to think things through. You're able to consider what you're doing, the dynamics of what you're doing. Start thinking about ways to create active or proactive solutions to the problems that you have, because you're not really thinking about those things, and it because you're in reactive mode. So something happens, I'm going to go and douse out the fire. I'm not going to take a moment to consider what is the best plan of attack for this particular thing that you're doing. Um, so it does definitely reactive mode. Help you have a problem sometimes getting into the deep focus that you really need to get things done. How about meetings without purpose? Honestly, I don't want to be in one other meeting that is not purposeful, that doesn't have an agenda, that also doesn't have a reason for me to be in it. And then let me just say, as a CEO, I find that to be true for sure. But also just as my team members, like I don't want them throwing me into things that I don't need to be in. So unnecessary or unstructured meetings can consume energy, and it reduces time for high impact work. So making sure that when someone sends you something or they add you to something that you really need to be there is a primary focus for any executive or team member. Should you be in that meeting? Is it something that you can actually just capture you can capture later through a record of the meeting, or the project manager or someone can actually send you over some notes of what you need to do? That's important to kind of like note. And then poor sleep and nutrition. And I will say this, like I have been really working on that for myself, the lack of rest and proper fuel. Like I've been really working on like getting into bed, trying to get into bed earlier. I understand that that affects the cortisol that's in my body, that it affects like my stress levels, that it affects all of those things, and also just the nature of my body in being able to do things. And so I have to make sure that I have rest, that I have the proper fuel. And if I don't, I'm going to be sluggish. I'm going to have low resilience, and I'm going to have a decreased motivation because energy leaks happen in ways we don't always notice. By identifying and reducing hidden drains, we can create more space for meaningful, productive work without adding more hours to the day. Like the time drains, the things that we do, the always being on is detrimental and it will cause stress on your body over time. Okay, so then how do we minimize energy drains? We need to batch similar tasks together. Okay, if we're making phone calls, then schedule your meetings. Sorry, you guys. This is springtime and allergies are happening, so I wanted to get that cough out. But let's keep going. You need to batch similar tasks together. If you're making a phone call, then make several phone calls. If you're doing emails, do the emails. If you're make whatever you're doing, if you're doing the deep work, stay within the deep work. But what you want to do is start batching and start to put things on your calendar. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but batching things and putting like time in your day for all of these different things. But when you start doing the calls and when you start doing the deep work and when you stop trying to and when you start to do emails and you're doing all those at the same time, how can you really get into the deep work? It's almost to me, it feels like the realm of sleep that we can get into. There are times when we're trying to get into the realm of sleep and and they talk about like the deeper you can get into sleep, the better you are. The same thing goes for deep work. The deeper you can get into your work without all of the distractions, the phone calls, the emails, and all of that, the better off you can be in getting work done. You want to also set boundaries around interruptions. Protect your energy by creating no interruption time, no phones, no notifications, none of the ding dongs, all the things that are going on. Just get that out of the way so that you can get into the deep realm of work and then schedule recovery time. Like when you get finished with that deep work, don't go back into another set of get right back into another set of deep work. You want to then go into tasks that are shorter, emails, phone calls and that type of thing and reset yourself, walk away, get some get some water or something, go and walk to I walk to the mailbox and then come back, like just get out and reset yourself before you get into more deep work. Okay, let's keep going. And so aligning tasks with energy cycles, let's talk about the energy cycles here. And this is what I love. Usually we're talking about, like I said, the time management stuff, but I really want you to start looking at your rhythm. Like I know that I'm really not the best morning person. I probably warm up around 10 o'clock. So for my assistant knows to not schedule any meetings for me before 10 a.m. I need time to kind of like wake up slowly. That's just me. I need time to, maybe drink some coffee or some tea. I need to kind of like warm myself into it. I'm a true introvert. So as an introvert, I know that that's not the best time for me to get into deep work. Now, I also know that if I need to do deep work, the best time for me to do deep work and finishing off things or something is for me to really actually get up early. When I have some really deep work that I need to consider, my fresh brain is the best part of my day. So I will get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and do sometimes deep work. And then I like then I'm off, I'm on to the day. If I so that's for my deep work. So I know that that's really important for me. I can also do deep work after 10, and I can also connect with people after 10. So I know what my peak energy hours are. My peak energy hours are either a very early 5 o'clock in the morning getting things done, then I slow down. And then I have a 10 o'clock, and from 10 to like maybe 12 or 1, then I know that that's a peak time for me. And after that, I have this afternoon lull. I don't care what I eat. Once I eat lunch, it could be like the healthiest food out there. I feel like I have a slowdown. And also if I eat breakfast, I do too. So wake up, I can get up at 5 o'clock, do some work. Once I eat breakfast, there's a lull, and then I get back at it around 10. I get from 10 to 2, I can still do it. Then I have an afternoon lull that happens after lunch or a couple hours after lunch. Know your peak cycles, know your low energy cycles, and then you know your sluggish moments, like when you are sluggish. And right after I've eaten something, for a moment, I definitely go through that process. I'm assuming that some of that has to do with insulin and all of that. But even when I'm not eating a lot of insulin, it could just be where I'm eating more protein. I still have those low and sluggish moments. Know thyself, I always say, and to thy own self be true. Once you figure out what your peak energy hours are, that's your deep work. That is your strategy. That's where you go, and that's when you put that time on there. When you have your low energy hours, then you want to do your admin work. You want to do your emails and your meetings around that time. When you have your sluggish moments, you want to get moving. You want to reset. You want to have a break. You want to walk away. You want to get your energy through getting out your fatigue, or getting out of your sluggish moments with something that's going to help you kind of like reset yourself. So that's how you avoid a mental fatigue. Too much cognitive load drains focus. You need strategic breaks, movement, and hydration that will help you sustain clarity throughout the day. It to thyself be true. Know yourself. Figure out your energy hours. Figure out your low energy hours, and then your sluggish moments, and then plan your day based on that. No longer do we have to say time management, although we definitely want to be respectful of like time, the moments of time that we're doing something, but we also want to make sure that we're using energy as our fuel source in order to get those things done. So then how do you optimize your work for maximum energy? Prioritize high energy work first. Tackle your most challenging or creative tasks during peak energy hours, and make sure that when you're in that time frame, that you block the time off. There are no notifications coming through, that you just block all of it up, block it off. And you want to make sure that you maintain that time frame, and you want to make sure that you're doing your deepest work in that energy time frame. Okay, use time blocks for deep work. Set aside distraction free, like I just said, time blocks, 60 to 90 minutes for deep, uninterrupted work. Turn off all notifications and eliminate multitasking. Just don't do it. It doesn't work. You're not going to get it done. I would rather you go in and get one large size thing done, and then get several of the small things done, then do half of the work, don't get anything done because you're multitasking in your task. You're doing task work as well. Schedule admin tasks during energy dips, like when your energy is starting to kind of like wane a little bit and you need something to do, and you still have work to do. That is when you do your emails. That is when you do data entry, when you do the low energy and low task work, to make sure that you're getting into your natural rhythm. When you structure your work around your energy and not the clock, You create a system that boosts productivity without draining your mental resources. So the power of strategic breaks. Leverage the 90-minute rule. After you've worked and you've pushed through a 90-minute cycle of hard, deep work, of your deep level, deep realm work, then what you want to do is make sure that you have a 5 to 15 minute break, reset your energy, and maintain peak performance. Some people, I can't do this. I've never been able to do this. I've never been able to actually like take a power nap. I can't do that. Like I feel like I come out of it like dazed and ready and ready to actually go back to sleep. So and it's hard for me to cut myself off like that. But whatever you have to do, take the break after a really grueling part. Because what you don't want to do is actually go through burnout. Okay. You want to move, hydrate, and reset, step away from your desk, stretch, drink water, take a short walk. Small actions help restore your focus and then get you back ready. I would not, um, from there, go right into another 90 minutes. I would then take a couple of minutes to do some low functioning work, emails, and then that. So you take your break, then you do some low functioning work, like some and low priority work, like your emails, catch up, and then you then go back into a 90-minute process and with energy. Okay. And then avoid fake breaks. Scrolling social media or checking emails, it really doesn't truly recharge your brain. Choose activities that actually refresh you. So again, the 15-minute break, and then you go into low functioning or low processed types of work, like your emails and things like that. That's going to set you up for success. Okay, next steps. What are the things that you need to do to keep this going, to keep the conversation going, to keep the thinking going, to keep the process going as you go? Okay, let's get into it. Daily practice. Start your day with hydration, movement, and intentional planning. This is a great moment. And let me just say, there's a couple of things I'm going to add here. You can always on Fridays before you start, as you're leaving for the day, so that you can get all the things off of your desk on Fridays, go in and make sure that you're checking your you're writing down all the things that you need to do so that you can set yourself for success on Monday. Some people do that on Sunday, but I try to do it on a Friday so that I don't interrupt my weekend with all the things that I need to do. Okay. So start your day with hydration, movement, and intentional planning. Use energy peaks for deep work and schedule breaks to reset. Your scrolling is not breaks, is not a reset. And then avoid multitasking. Focus on one task at a time for maximum efficiency. Weekly practice. Review your energy patterns. When do you feel most focused versus drained? Optimize your workspace, adjust the lighting, declutter, and remove distractions. Plan your upcoming week based on energy levels, not just deadlines. That's what I was just talking about, making sure that you're either going into the weekend with everything off of your plate, knowing where you're going next week. Or some people wait until Sunday afternoons. They sit down, they start to kind of like plan their week. They start to plan their week. Whatever that is for you, you'll figure out what you're understanding. I'm saying is you will figure out your rhythm to all of this. But I will say that when you start to look at your calendar based on your energy levels, I think that that's the game changer for sure. Okay. And then monthly, reflect on what's working. I do a quarterly SWOT, which is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But when I was in a class one day, I had a team member for this particular client say that they do it on a monthly basis. I think that that's a great idea to just do and look at what's happening, see if you're making any mistakes or things that you can do better, and you're off to the races. So reflect on what's working. Are you managing energy effectively? Excuse me. adjust routines to better align with your natural energy rhythms, and then identify one new habit to improve energy and productivity. That is the way to focus more on energy management than time management. And I do believe that both of those go hand in hand. So this was just exciting for me. I never really thought about how I set up my day, not looking at it from a full on time perspective, but a energy perspective. I hope that that helped you as well. Start to look at your day a little bit differently. I am Takesha Bromell. I am the CEO of Girl Friday Business Solutions. If you have any questions about this training or anything that you want to share, you can send me an email at Takesha at girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com. And then thank you. Thank you so much for joining this. And I hope that this was a great training for you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.